bullet for you because sometimes that has to happen.
Right.
So.
And your actors, how did you go about casting them for this?
We did the Screen Actors Guild. We did a SAG agreement. So we did casting sessions up here in Northern California, and then we hired a casting director and did casting sessions in Los Angeles as well. And we saw a couple of hundred people for these roles, for these 5 roles.
Really?
And we wound up getting all people from Southern California, except there's an individual named John Reed, who's a police officer for San Carlos, and a fine actor, I might add. And he was the lone Northern California person that we.
Oh, is that right?
But this was all mostly LA based through our casting director, and dealing with agents and.
Oh, really?
And that's tough too, because there's all these rules about what you're supposed to do when you offer somebody a part, and if you don't know anything about that, you can get yourself in real expensive trouble.
Really? Now you said you formed an LLC for this.
Yeah.
And that's probably the best way to protect yourself in terms of
for everybody has to look at their own concerns and the advantages of each of the different entities that you can form. A limited liability company just worked out the best for us from a legal point of view.
Okay.
You don't want to put your personal assets in the way, into a movie and put them at risk.
Right.
So you need to do something, some kind of a corporation or a limited partnership or something.
I see.
Because otherwise, a lot of things could go wrong, and then you lose your house.
Right. It's not a good thing.
Yeah, your children, those kind of things. In Hollywood, they'll take anything they can get. So.
Exactly. Talk about Hollywood. You've been, I guess, spending a lot of time in Hollywood. You're back and forth. How do you compare the culture? I mean, Hollywood and Silicon Valley. I mean, what's it like working down there? Are people sharks like everyone says, or?
Yeah. I mean, it's a business where we could count on one hand the number of people who did not lie to us. Okay?
Oh, really?
And it's interesting because there's people that you deal with, doing the mechanics of the movie, like hiring crew and getting video dubs done and those kind of things. But then when you have a movie and you're dealing with the distributors and that sort of thing, to me that's the lowest form of life in Hollywood. Excuse me if there are any distributors listening to this, but all the really horrible stuff you hear about Hollywood is mostly in that arena.
The distributor?
Yeah, the distributor, sales agents, that sort of thing.
A lot of wheeling and dealing type stuff?
Yeah, and they'll tell you anything to get your film, and then when you get the contract and look at it, it's the stuff they said is not in there, and there's a lot of attempts at showmanship, and it's a weird environment. I can take it in small doses. That's why I still live here, because you can park,
right.
little things like that.
Right.
LA, I have fun when I go down there, but it is a different and odd business. It's completely different than, it's much more wildcat and crazy than Silicon Valley.
Is that right?
Silicon Valley is pretty buttoned down compared to
right, exactly.
Compared to Hollywood. Yeah.
Interesting. And how about for your film festivals? What you went through all the film festivals? You did Miami, you said, and
yeah, the film festival circuit is a weird thing because there's so many film festivals, and you can't apply to all of them.
Right.
And what you have to do, and I worked as a film festival consultant, so I know of what I speak a little bit. You have to look at your film, take a good hard look at your film, and then take a good hard look at the festivals that are out there to see what the best fit is for your film. In our film, racial issues, 4 of our 5 characters were African Americans. This was a film that was going to pique the interest of the black film festivals, any film festival in New York called Urban World, those kinds of things. They seem to be the ones that were most receptive to our film. We did not apply to Sundance, Toronto, any of the real big festivals because I didn't figure we'd get in.
I see.
Unusually enough, at Miami, the curator for a section of the Toronto Film Festival liked our film enough and wanted to consider it for their festival.
Oh, really?
And the same thing happened with Sundance. We ultimately weren't accepted, but we didn't apply to their festival, but they came and asked us, well, would you? So that was kind of nice. But we found out that after we won the award at the first festival, that generated a series of invitations to other festivals. And most of the festivals we've done were a result of invitations. Most of the festivals we applied to, we didn't get in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What's your favorite film festival?
So you've been to a lot of you've been at cons, you've interviewed people. So you were you're kind of a film critic on the side before doing directing.
Yeah.
What's your favorite film festival?
Well, Cannes is great if you have a press credential, and I mean it's just loads of fun. You're in France. It's a very it's not a user-friendly festival, but if you know the ropes, it can be. It's a lot of fun.
Really.
From a press person's point of view, I like Cannes the best. From a straight filmgoer's point of view, I'd have to say Toronto is my favorite festival.
Really?
It's well run, it's extremely user-friendly. Even if you live here, you can go to the Toronto Film Festival, select your tickets, navigate the festival as somebody from another city, and it's easy to do. They make it easy on out-of-towners at Toronto. And it's an exquisitely run festival, and there's almost 400 films there.
Really? Yeah.
So from a film maker, the prize goes to the Chicago International Film Festival.
Oh, is that right?
Because they were just absolutely supportive of our film. The two major publications, we got really bad reviews from the big publications. And so we thought no one was going to show up at our screening, but that didn't happen. And they were very supportive of us. They treated us well. We had deep dish pizza every day in the hospitality lounge. I mean, they were just terrific people. So that was a nice experience as a filmmaker to go to a festival like that.
So it's Chicago.
I love Chicago.
Chicago takes the prize.
Yeah,
interesting.
absolutely.
You've got enough stuff in the pipeline now to kind of keep you going?
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm trying to finish a script that I have two companies that really, really like the idea. And it's an urban one with an urban bandit, but it's about a gang of senior citizens.
A gang of senior citizens. Is it comedy?
Well, actually, no. It's sort of sort of an action thriller. I mean, there's obviously some ironic comic aspects to a premise like that.
Right.
But we're going to do it as a relatively straightforward action kind of movie.
Really?
Because I think then the humor will play better.
Oh, I see.
If you play it as a comedy, I think people will say, "Oh, that's ridiculous."
Yeah. Oh, it sounds.
Well, we're going to make these senior citizens bad. They're going to be bad.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to that film. You got to invite me to that when when you get that finished. We're kind of running out of time here. What last minute, like 15 seconds? What advice do you have for someone who wants to make a movie? And maybe there's another dentist out there who wants to get in and make a film.
Other than the supportive spouse?
Right.
You just have to do it. I mean, I hate to take the Nike jargon, just do it, but honest to God, that really applies. And it sounds cliche-ridden, but that's what we did, and I'm glad we did.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I think that's about it. I'm really glad you were able to come on the show with me.
It was my pleasure.
Thanks to my crew very much for all their help, and thanks to KMVT, thanks to my guest, Ken Karn, and thanks to you for watching. We'll see you sometime soon. Ciao.